We dismiss history at our peril.
Liberty Nation Radio with Mark Angelides.
And we're back with Liberty Nation special Durham Report panel. Tim Donner, Scott Cosenza, and Graham J. Noble. Earlier in the show, we've discussed the fallout of the Durham Report. We've discussed the issues with the agencies involved. But now, obviously, we feel that perhaps we're safe in understanding what happened to the Durham Report because we had Pulitzer Prize winning, Peabody Prize winning journalists telling us the story of the Durham Report, of the Russian collusion that never was for the last 4 years. Scott, tell me, are they going to hand back those Pulitzers that they won?
We are flirting with World War III because of this reporting. It is, you run out of ways to call it a disgrace and a violation of all principles of what's supposed to be a profession. And the difference between a profession and a vocation and an avocation is that even if it damages your short-term interest, you're supposed to actually uphold a greater principle. And the press here is so contemptible in their behavior, I just can't even begin to describe it with adjectives that I'm aware of. I have to come up with some new ones. And they're not giving back their prizes because they are shameless and disgusting. And that's the read of the press on this.
New adjectives to go with new pronouns if you want them, Scott. Tim, what's your take?
Well, strangely enough, what comes to mind here is a couple of children's stories. One of them is Pinocchio, and the other one is all about crying wolf. And I think what the press doesn't realize is that they've cried wolf so many times that the effect of these multiple investigations on Trump gets watered down each and every time. Because why? Because their nose keeps growing, just like in Pinocchio, every time they tell a lie. And they think they can protect Joe Biden and his cohorts and Obama and Clinton and everybody. They think they can protect them. But that's why we have elections. And assuming they're free and fair elections, it's hard not to believe that this disgrace, which was at least as bad as the conspiracy theorists on the far right had said it was, is going to have an impact on this election. It's just hard to know what impact, given that people have lost. They've lost all respect for journalism.
Palace guard for the establishment is the one thing that they're good at. That's like
they are the Praetorian Guard of the 21st century.
Graham, the Praetorian Guard or just misguided?
I think. First of all, I mean, I would say when it comes to the media, kind of the what we generally refer to as the establishment media, what a lot of people call the mainstream media, which is kind of an outdated term now because we have the internet and so many other sources of information that the term mainstream media is now obsolete completely. They're not mainstream at all. So, the establishment media, I would almost call them the statist media. I am very torn because, look, if you go back to the founding fathers, Thomas Jefferson had a very, very contentious relationship with the media. He did not like them at all. They didn't like him. He once said something to the effect that the most honest thing you can read in a newspaper is the advertisements. And, so everyone is loath to say anything bad about the media because, a free press, it's the foundation of a free society and all of that kind of stuff. Well, that's all well and good if you have genuinely a free press. But in this country, we do not have a free press. The entire establishment media is bought and paid for by corporations and all of it, and I include Fox News in this, all of it is controlled by people who have agendas and have, motives for spinning the news in certain ways. And so to me, the very idea that we have a free press is nonsense. The only free press we have is all the alternative online sites, such as Liberty Nation, and
Go check it out in your browser.
And various other ones, but the big cable news networks, the big newspapers, they're not the free press at all. It's ridiculous, and as much as I am, as libertarian as I am, libertarian almost sometimes bordering on anarchist, I still sometimes a little piece of me says, why can we not hold these journalists accountable when they blatantly and knowingly and intentionally lie to the American people, and in doing so they do actually influence policy, they influence election outcomes, they do an enormous amount of damage, and we never hold them accountable because we're like, well, it's free press, you can't start punishing journalists because then you're going down the road towards dictatorship. I'm like, well, actually, we're kind of already halfway down that road.
Lying is free speech too, Graham.
So at some point, yeah, and I do understand that, Scott. And so I'm not actually literally saying that we should start putting journalists in prison, but
let's hope not.
There has to be a way that these people are held accountable for their lies, because leaving them to continue doing it is it's unforgivable.
And we all hold them accountable with our clicks and our attention and our
subscription dollars.
I would say, unfortunately, that we're not. Unfortunately, an awful lot of Americans believe this stuff that they put out, and I think we're in a very dangerous moment in history right now, because the establishment is telling us that disinformation, what they call disinformation, should be not only countered, but the people who put it out should be punished, even if they are like private citizens. And we're getting to that point. We're getting to the point in Europe and in Canada. We're getting to the point where people are being, just ordinary people are actually being pursued by the authorities for spreading so-called disinformation, and yet journalists, for some reason, are exempt from that kind of for being pursued for the same reason. And I'm not sure that I think that is how it should be. I don't know. I'm not sure I know the answer, but we have this protected class of so-called journalists who are escaping the punishments that everybody else is facing for saying things that other people decide is disinformation. And when they are lying to us and getting away with it, I don't know if I feel that's where we should be going.
Part of the answer to this, we're seeking answers, actually came in recent days when Tucker Carlson announced that his show was going to be going on Twitter. So as Elon Musk expands that portfolio of Twitter and starts to draw in major media talent, maybe from all sides, he'll probably take all comers. But with Tucker Carlson displaying his wares on instead of Fox News, that's a major blow to corporate media in terms of what it portends for the future. Where big corporate management can't step in and dictate what will and won't be done. I mean, the Dominion lawsuit proved that the executives didn't know what they were doing at Fox News, and it cost the network $800 million in a settlement. The Twitter sign up by Tucker Carlson, I think, portends very significant good things for the future and the beginning of a long ringing death knell for elite corporate media.
So free markets are once again the answer. Who would have thunk it?
Yes,
right, gentlemen,
sir.
we'll be back after this short break talking the legal aspect of the Durham report. Please don't go anywhere. Don't touch that dial. We dismiss history at our peril.
Liberty Nation Radio with Mark Angelides. Entertaining, informative, and just plain fun. Watch Liberty Nation's The Conservative Five. produced by conservatives for conservatives. C5's The Left Free Zone, hosted by Liberty Nation's Lisa K. Donner, joined by a raucous, irreverent panel of authors, deconstructing leftist narratives, debating the hot topics, and remembering to laugh. Join the official conservative safe
You only
space.
did that to piss Jeff off.
Liberty Nation's The Conservative Five.